I meant to hit StormTALK. Sorry about that. Been a little bit out of practice. Surprise, surprise. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the blog. Yeah, we'll get to those highs here in just a few moments. Hope you all are doing well. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. And yes, this is the blog that you would normally see me at in the morning hours, but I've been out back and forth that time of the year, right? And I'll be out back and forth again at times over the next several weeks to have. But I haven't forgotten about you guys. And Carrie, I do like you all right? So don't think that I don't. Glad to see you guys are around and still picking on everybody. I'll be worried if I didn't see that. Good morning, Angela. Good to be back as well. Kristen, I've been weather clueless. I doubt that, right? But it's been fairly quiet, right? It's been really, really quiet in general, other than the heat and a few storms. All the action's been other parts of the country. Hey, Morgan, nice to see you again. Hello to Snickerdoodle. Back for the next couple of days. Yes, for this week, you've got me in place here. As you guys can tell, you can comment on the social media side, Facebook, X, Twitch as well. In fact, I was actually dealing with the dogs and the high anxiety issue for 4th of July, but at the same time I was able to watch Ryan Hoke put up the stream of all the area firework displays on Twitch, and so I was able to watch that at the same time without scaring the dogs, and because I have my fans and everything else was turned up really loud, they try to block the sound. So I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, we're everywhere, guys, so always pay attention to the notifications when they get issued. So first off, how are you? Type 1 if you're good. Type 3 if we need to talk later. We'll try to do a therapy session. I hope you are doing all right and doing well so far this summer season. We're at the halfway point, right? So now we're getting into the second leg here of summer, and that means fall is around the corner. And I know Wayne's not in here. I don't think I've seen Wayne yet. No, I have not started working on the winter forecast yet. I usually start that right around the 1st or so of September, which I should be close to that this year. So not long further away. I mean, about 30 days or so. Okay, so let's get into where we're at now, because really since the last to talk to you guys, not a ton has really changed. We've been going through a couple of heat waves, and temperatures have been averaging close to normal, which has been in the upper 80s, lower 90s on a near daily basis. We've had some showers and storms. I tell you what, I've been missed almost every single day. Everything's just getting really brown in my yard, and I've been trying to water, try to keep as much as I can alive, while other parts of the area have been hit with downpours on a daily basis. So it really has been hodgepodge on these rainfall amounts in the area. So I'm not sure where you guys stack up on it, but I've been missed by the majority of them. So I could really use some rainfall, and I do think we've got at least some decent chances coming our way. It's hard to get too excited with cold fronts this time of the year. That's about the only way you can, were those two ways. Cold fronts and any type of tropical system, but this year they're moving so slow. I don't know if we want one anywhere near us this year, because we've already seen what Barry and Chantal have done, and if that's the way the trend will be for this year, and sadly I do think that will be the trend, we don't want any of those bad boys near us. All right, let's get into the highs. I'll stop rambling. That hasn't changed. You see the highs as of late? Yeah, the two heat waves really do show up on the map there. We had that one in June, and then the most recent one for the 4th of July holiday. Didn't get as intense as expected. It was not as bad really on the heat index side. It was just a period of heat. But that's two under our belt, putting us at about nearly 2 weeks worth of 90s now for 2025 that we've had. Yesterday we failed to reach that 90-degree mark because the kind of the cloudier sky set up, and we're going to be battling that the next couple of days. If you're not going to get a decent amount of cumulus clouds or even a downpour in your area the next couple of afternoons, you have a good chance to hit 90 to say 92. If you end up staying on the cloudier side, then you will likely stay into the 80s. So very normal. I mean, it could be, you're right, it could be way worse, Blue. It is very a normal July summer pattern in wave country. So I don't think there's too many complaints other than the fact we could use a little more water now. All right, 78 in Louisville, 79 in Jeffersonville. We had some fog and low clouds around today. They're starting to disperse. You can see signs of that. It's got that hazy look when you're in that process because the sun is still at a low angle trying to climb higher in the sky. So it has that mix of the fog itself dispersing and the low-level cumulus that are there. So it kind of creates that hazy look, South Florida kind of look there. But eventually you'll get more of that bluer sky here by midday. It's important to know, too, areas that had that low cloud area or the fog this morning will be a little more at risk for those afternoon pop-ups that could develop. And you can see this morning, if you look carefully, you can see some of the area rivers. You may not be able to on this image, but the White River you can see really well. Certainly in eastern Kentucky, usually you can see them, but there are a lot of clouds kind of scattered, so it is kind of a messy satellite. But I want to point this out because areas where you've got your cloudy zone now and it suddenly shrinks down and thins, you see how it's doing that on the north and south side, it's just gobbled up. That's what we call differential heating, and that is where if you're going to get a type of a thunderstorm that is very brief and randomly pops today, the zone to watch is where you've got the edge there of that heating taking place, where areas that have full sun already this morning are least likely to run into problems with that. Doesn't always hold as a general rule of thumb, but it does fairly well in a summer pattern for wave country when you have especially hazy and foggy kind of setups. You got to look and see areas that are quickly reversing from cloudy to sunny. So that would put Louisville at least in the chance to get a thunderstorm to pop on the radar this afternoon. We'll see. Otherwise, there's not much of a trigger near us. There's a very diffuse front down across southern areas of Kentucky, stretching into areas of the northeast. Otherwise, this next little spin near the Twin Cities really has your main severe risk across the lower 48 today, as it's going to kick out some showers and storms. Now, for us, it's going to take a few spins along this boundary to really get the front to move closer to us, to put us a little more in that zone. We won't get there today. We won't get there tomorrow. But perhaps Saturday we'll get a little closer. And then on Sunday, the front itself should be right across Kentucky. Don't know if it's going to go all the way through or not. That's always a big debate with cold fronts, especially midsummer, is do they go to I-40 or do they stop and just kind of sit there for a while and reverse and go back north? And the past two fronts, I've been tracking them, have all reversed and went back north. So this likely, we are in a pattern that I've said several times since January. This is a stuck pattern across the globe that allows for very slow moving weather events. You also, whatever weather pattern you're in, you're likely getting stuck in that for a long period of time before something tries to shake it up, and expect little change. And the way this is trending here, I just don't see that we're going to see a lot of change in our storyline. We're going to be hot at times, nothing too excessive. We're going to get a few fronts that'll move in. They'll hang out for a day or two, pack their bags, head back north. And while they're in for a visit, they have the best chance to get us some rainfall. Otherwise, we got to depend on the stuff like today, your random pop-ups. And for farmers out there, not the best of news on that because that's hard to plan for. So you really have to plan for just the fronts when they get close to us. Will this continue all the way through the month of August? My first thought on that is yes. I do think that we will be battling a little bit more of a drier and hotter scenario that may develop across Texas into the deep south that may influence our weather. I'll explain coming up in a second. And I'll do another long-term blog probably next week to get you all the way through the rest of summer, all the way to the first day of fall. I'm going to go far out next week with that blog update. But the theme I want you guys to get is that not a lot is changing, and really is the weather patterns are stuck. Okay, so don't you miss my tangents. Okay, so there's the radar look, get rid of the clouds. Yeah, you see that spin there into the Great Lakes. Because we don't have a lot of jet energy, by the way, to get organized severe is going to be difficult. So you're not going to have any big areas outlooked on severe. CSU, Hensets, maybe a one or two. SBC sort of does as well. This is the time of year you just don't really pay attention to those outlooks as much because, again, it's not the zone of severe weather. It's the zone of organized severe weather as well. Those maps are drawn. So it only takes one severe thunderstorm warning at 4:15 in the afternoon, and you got trees down and power outages. So that's why I harp on these summer storms tend to be a little more sneakier because I don't think everyone is geared up for them. And it's hard for us to do an alert day for them because they are so isolated. But the impact, yeah, I mean, it can be pretty intense and cause damage. So you always have to be on guard for those clusters of storms like this time of the year. Always have a way to get notified just like you normally would. But your big-time organized events, we're basically out of that season. We'll get back into that season as we head into late October and certainly into December as our second severe weather season we have here in Wave Country. Okay, so that's the storyline, really, of the overall trend. Again, quiet in areas where it counts right now, which would be North Carolina and Texas. Thank goodness they need a break. All right, so the game plan for us is going to be tracking that front in the Twin Cities. Let's start with today's setup. And again, the cape or the fuel is in that gold color. There's a lot of fuel, but not a lot of a trigger outside. The only thing that could help us today would be that differential boundary today, where you go from the clouds and the fog area to sunny. That may help us. That may help us then fire up one or two a little closer to the city this afternoon. Otherwise, muggy and at tight. And then tomorrow, yeah, we'll do it again. Same storyline, although there's a little bit more of an angle to them. You can already see how a front is approaching when you start to get more of that northwest to southeast look, where you're starting to get a little more of that south flow really pumping in the 90s just west of us, west of 65 especially. Don't know if we'll get fully all the way into the mid-90s. I think lower 90s is fair right now, just because we'll have a lot of cumulus being pulled in. Then we get into Saturday, and this one, the front gets a little closer to us, a lot of fuel. So we really go into the gold here, right? So anything that can pop can certainly become strong and or severe. Otherwise, it will be a very hot day in terms of summer. It will be a hot and humid setup on your Saturday. Good pool day, but be aware of those thunderstorms that may develop. And this is where the modeling stops. So we don't see what happens here on Sunday, but this model, our in-house model, the graph model, one thing that's interesting about it is that it does have the nocturnal look to these thunderstorms late Saturday night. That may continue into Sunday. So what I have a feeling may develop here, I want more time to look at this because I'm just not getting back into the hot seat as well to figure out what's going on from the past week here worth of data. But just looking at this on paper, this will likely lead to some type of a boundary Sunday where this will be the starting point for the storm Sunday and then anywhere south of that, which is just about everyone watching, everyone in wave country. The only reason I mention that is there's a chance then that our northern counties in Indiana, you may be too far north of that boundary, so you may not have as much to worry about on Sunday compared to the rest of the area. But that's the way it looks on paper anyway. Let me show you a different look to that. This is looking at the Euro. Backtracking to Friday. Again, spotty showers and storms. Here we go. Saturday night, clusters of thunderstorms arrive. So much of Saturday daytime, other than an isolated storm, it's just going to be a hot day, good pool day. If you need to take care of mowing before we get into the rainy setup, by all means, go ahead and take advantage of that. And then you see there a little bit of a hint on the Euro with the Sunday wave where it really wants to fire them up very close to wherever they went to sleep Saturday night. And then that's the starting point, and then they'll just kind of drift to the south and east. Now, this front is one that will move in. It will stop. It'll take a break. It'll go to the gas station. I don't know. It'll refill up, and then it'll tilt. So it moves in. It'll have an orientation like this by Sunday night. And then by Monday of next week, it'll look more like this, where the western side of it is already being pulled up into Missouri here, and it begins to tilt downward into the Smoky Mountains on the eastern side. That will buy us a couple of days of dry weather for early next week. We'll heat back up, but eventually that boundary will have to move back through again. And that's where we'll keep the storm chances of rolling back and forth and back and forth. All right, here is the Euro. Again, I plot here where your best potential is for a heat wave, your dome of heat. The blue is not cold, it's just lower heights. You can correlate that with cooler than other areas, yes, but don't think cold. All right, it's not cold. All right, so here we are with Tuesday. Again, this is where the front is tilted over the area. You can see it's already lifted north, and there's where the heat responds, pushing up into Missouri. So let's kind of, again, I've already skipped ahead to where we just ended the last frame of the last look at the Euro. All right, let's advance this. We hold on to that for Tuesday. Front's moving on by. Here we go for Wednesday. And just as the heat, it's the same storyline. The heat builds to the south, and it keeps wanting to build right in the Ohio Valley. And just as it tries to get a hold of us, here comes another wave that moves in from the Midwest and smushes it down to the south and cuts it off. And we get into a stormy pattern. Honestly, this is not a bad setup because at least it's given us a chance at some rainfall every, say, 5 to 6 days. We have a front of some sort moving in. That's good. That's going to keep us out of a drought status. If we didn't have this type of a pattern, I would be quite concerned about a drought. But I think at the moment, as long as this timing works out, I think it's actually, we're getting the fair end of the deal. But the Euro wants to do that, wants to try to bring the front into the area at some point, the end of next week. And there's still some debate after this. After we get into the last 10 days of July, which I will cover more on that in the long range I'll be doing soon. But there is another pocket of the lower heights into Canada that want to still get established again in the Hudson Bay area. And if that happens, we saw a hint that this could happen in July, but if that indeed does develop into the month of July, then that is going to send us down to below normal temperatures. Any questions I can give for you guys? Well, we're wrapping up here. Sounds really loud. There's a 10-day, again, lower 90s the next few days. Warm, muggy nights. We'll watch those storm chances. The front sinks southward over the weekend. Lower initially Saturday, higher on Sunday. And then the front reverses. We heat back up. And then we get ready for the next round of storms at some point. I would say Thursday's fair, but it may be pushed back to Friday. And we'll just see how it trends from there. Okay. What questions can I try to answer? Let's see, Owens Mill. What are you doing in my city? You guys have had a whole other conversation than where I'm at, which is fine. I enjoy that you all are all friends. You all talk to each other, right? And trust me, I haven't. Brian and his brain are back. Thank you. Appreciate that, Adam. You're right. My mushy brain still with me. And I haven't forgotten about the idea of doing a meet and greet with you all. I still want to do that in some form. I really would like to do this before we get into the season here, but it's still being talked about, so just hang tight. I really would like to do that with you all, though. I think it'd be fun. And I'm going to be doing some streams, showing you a little bit more, kind of walk around the building, kind of show you behind the scenes stuff. We have Harry, my tortoise, is going to be here soon, not today, but soon. So that's going to be a fun day. So we got some fun stuff planned for you all in the days ahead. I'll try to give as much heads up as possible. Sean, I saw your comment and I lost you already. Sorry. You guys move so fast. When are we going back to a normal schedule with the lives? Everyone else is normal but me, to be honest. I'm the one that's a little off track. But otherwise, there's nothing major. I'm not going to be out for very long periods of time, so it'll only be just a day or two here and there. You may not see me at the normal time. Otherwise, I will be here. And if you see too much of me, then honestly, that's probably not a good thing, to be honest. Harry must love this weather pattern. You know what? He's a cicada tortoise, so yes, loves it, but at the same time, wants to bury. So I have to recreate the idea, because they can bury. They're from the Saharan desert, so they can bury 50 feet down, even sometimes 100 feet down into sand to get to higher moisture levels in a cooler pocket to get away from the intensity. They like heat, but they don't want, they got to cool their body down. They're cold-blooded animals. So I have to recreate that environment for him in his enclosure to where he has the ability to find a way to get cool and get into a deeper in-the-ground type of setup. So Harry's been more involved in that than being lazy and sitting outside enjoying the sun. So it's been really odd, even for a cicada tortoise. It's been a little much. Okay, I'm going to end it there for now. I just really want to touch base with y'all and just let y'all know that I'm still around and we're all in good shape. And we have a lot to discuss in the coming weeks. Yes, again, next week will be a longer post about the outlook all the way to the end of summer and the start of the autumn season. Oh, man, can't wait. All right, listen, you guys take care of each other. Behave yourselves. I will see you all coming up on the flip side on midday, starting at 11 a.m. This morning. And we'll just take the trends hour by hour today when it comes to those pop-up downpours along that area near 64. Okay? Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, as always. I'll see you guys later on.